I am setting up a second store shelf today, and I thought, of course, that I would take you along with me. So today we're starting this video in the car. I haven't been giving many updates for the other store shelf just because summer always tends to get away from me a little bit, but I'm also going to give you updates on how that store shelf has been going, tell you a little bit about this one, let you see my setup, some of the things that I'm changing, the future changes that I'm going to make for the fall, and what else I'm hoping to do come the fall in my business. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Ashley. And if you're new here, I have built a 6-figure bakery from my home all by myself. Now I'm taking what I learned to build that bakery to build our home 3D printing business. But this time I'm taking others along with me because I want to pass on the knowledge that I learned to build a business to everybody else, as I think everybody has it in them to build a business if they want to. So let's get into it. So this new store that we're driving to today is very similar to the other store in that there are a variety of vendors within the store that have their shelves set up. However, the owner does sell some of her own things within the store. There are going to be events running within the store. There's a balloon business that sells from there as well. There's a little cafe. So it's a much more involved space and it has a bigger opportunity, I believe. It is brand new, having just opened a month ago, and I am getting in there halfway through this month. So I'm only paying for half a month to begin with, then I will be paying monthly after that. And let's talk about the payment structure, right? Because it's important to know if you're looking at setting up in a store, what are you going to be paying? Are we paying just the shelf fee? Are we paying just commission? Or in the case of this store, I'm actually going to be paying both. So my shelf fee per month is going to be $75 plus tax. And then she takes 10% of the sales on top of that. If I was deciding to put the bakery in this store, which I could also do, but I'm not because there are other baked goods in there and there's no point in me competing with things that are fresh because I don't want them to spoil. I'm not going back there constantly to grab those things that might spoil because of the competition. So if I was in there with the bakery, she solely just takes a 30% commission. But for those with physical products, it is the shelf payment plus a small commission. And that is what you're often going to find in stores. There was one that I was previously in with the bakery. It had a lower monthly fee. I think it was only $25 or $30, but she took a 20% commission. So just things for you to kind of work out and say, okay, if I'm doing this, what are my costs and am I still going to make a profit? So because we're nearing the end of summer, I'm obviously not bringing any birdhouses or bird feeders here. It's predominantly the flexies and fidgets, and I have a couple jewelry boxes. I have some new clickers, and I'm bringing those things because that's what I have on hand for the most part. I don't have many other items on hand at this point outside of those things. And if I'm going to get the shelf set up, I need to use what I have available. So come the fall in September, I actually want to get some notebooks made and have them set up in there. I think that those would do well. And just some other items like that that are more geared towards adults and less geared towards kids. So this way I will have a mixture of both because the audience for the store seems to be both. Now, once I get a feel for it a little bit more after a few months, since it is a brand new store and she's still getting a feel for it as well, there may be some changes made, but I need to see how it goes to begin with. As far as the other stores going, the summer hasn't been that great in terms of sales. The last month I did get, I believe it was $148 in commission sent my way. So that's certainly better than it has been. But I am hoping for better come the fall and the Christmas shopping season. So I'm continuing to pay for that shelf in hopes of a better payout come later in the year. And if at that point it hasn't gotten busier yet and sales aren't picking up, then there is a chance that I may pull my stuff out of the store because it just isn't worth it for me to continue paying the monthly fee of $67.50 if things aren't selling that well. For instance, this month, we're 13 days into the month as of my filming of this video, and only about $15 worth of product has been sold. So it's just not that busy and things are not moving very quickly. Let's talk about what I'm thinking about for the fall and market season. because I'm going to change up my table a little bit. It's so important when we are in business that we really pay attention to what the demands of the business are, the things that are selling, the things that aren't selling, which is why I have the clearance bins on my tables at the last couple markets, because I don't sell a lot of the dragon eggs. I had a bunch of them printed at one point. People were never really interested in them for me. Perhaps it's because I didn't put anything inside of them. I could decide to take some of them out of the clearance bin, put things inside of them, use it as like a mystery thing to see about selling them. But I just don't know, honestly, that I want to do that. But what does sell really well for me are the clickers. And I think clickers are quite popular right now with several people. So I'm actually thinking about how I'm going to lay out part of my table to be like a clicker bar. So where they can pick up the actual folder for the clickers and then pick and choose which clickers it is that they want to put in there. It could be a keychain clicker, it cannot be. But for me, I just know that that's where a lot of attention always goes on my table, and they seem to be quite popular. So I'm going to lean into that and we'll see how it goes. Right. Again, sometimes in business, things are trial and error, and you got to see if something works out or not. But I have a feeling that clickers will continue to be popular for a little while. People really like the tactile things and the fidgety things. I want to build up a store of that in September so that come my markets in October, November, and December, I can see how they're going to go. And I'll keep you in the loop, and we'll see if the clicker bar thing is going to work out well or not. And I also want to explore more with the discbound notebooks and market tables and see how exactly I'm going to figure that out too. What I plan to do is in September is make up like mock display tables in my house. So I'll pull out my market tables and I'm going to set them up and I'm going to see, okay, what works, what doesn't. Birdhouses won't be on the table anymore at that point. So they're going to be not taking up the space. I will keep things like the canned koozies, but the ice cream pints will be gone. So, there are some things that are seasonal that take up space on the table that will be moved, but I'm going to figure it out. I really do think that the clickers would be so popular at the kids' events that I have coming up in November and December. So I'm just curious and a little excited to see where that could possibly go, because even personally, I love a clicker. Anytime I'm putting them together, I want to play with them. So we will see how that goes, and I'll let you all know how they're going. I'm curious to see the exact shelf layout when I get to the store, because I've actually never physically been in the store. It is a new store, being that it only opened a month ago, and I spend a lot of time out of town in the summer, so I haven't actually been here to go into the store yet. And she did send me a couple pictures of shelves, one which was right at floor level, which I don't love because people don't shop as well at floor level. So I'm going to have to see what exactly she has available for me when I go in there to choose from. I brought a couple different displays for how to set it up, but as I go in there and set it up, I'll hit record on the camera and I'll make sure that you guys can see what I'm doing, and I'll talk about it with you after.
Well, I know I said I didn't want the shelves at the floor, but I will explain why this is happening in a little bit. And you will see at first here that I'm setting up actually two shelves. I was initially just supposed to have that top one there. That's not directly at the floor, but again, more explanation on this later. And I'm just trying to see exactly how I can fit everything that I brought in the best way on these two shelves. I did bring quite a lot of things, more than what could fit on these two shelves. So I want to see exactly how many things I can fit. I want it to look full. I know that I can't come back here for about a month, and I'm hoping that there's enough stuff to obviously keep it looking good in that time. Because again, it's a new store. I don't know how busy it's going to be. So I just want to make sure that I have enough product there that could last if it does happen to be busy and things do go really well. You can see that I brought my little Blob Lab display there because I've actually had that for quite some time. I never use it, and I thought that this would come in handy here to give a little bit of height variation on the shelf. My keychain sign, unfortunately, wouldn't sit here because it was just too tall, but then I was advised by the owner that I could also take this third shelf. So again, I will talk more about this a little bit later. But thankfully, once I started using that shelf, my keychain holder did work there. It actually has more space above from the shelf above it. so you could see in better. And I decided to move all of my can koozies over there, and I moved my jewelry boxes over because you get a better view looking down than you do on that first shelf that I set up. So I moved a bunch of items over. I was able to space out the items that I had better. I kept my clickers on that top shelf because they're smaller. And I moved things like the bone snakes and the crystal dragons down to that bottom shelf because there is more space on that shelf for them. But, while maybe I wouldn't love being super close to the floor, it's actually probably an ideal space for kids to be looking at things. So, as long as the adults are getting a good view of things from their angle, which I think they're going to get better now with that third shelf, and the kids can be able to see and touch things, it may actually do pretty well for being able to sell things. And this is where I'm going to be able to see the difference between this store and the first store, because the first store, my shelf actually sits up quite a bit higher and kids cannot really see the items. So I'm really curious to see how things move in this store with the shelf being quite a bit lower. Here's an overall look at how the shelf turned out. I have some brand new clickers on there from Marie's Buttons. I'll talk about those in a future video. But I have all of my clickers, fidgets, there's some blah blab items here on the first two sets of shelves. Crystal dragons, things that do really well for me. And then over onto the third shelf is where you can see that I have all the can koozies. I put jewelry boxes there. I have keychains. I have a Mario ? Piggy bank, and I think it turned out really nice.
Gonna give you some fresh thoughts here, right from setting up my shelf at the store. So before I went in, I said, I don't really want to set up at the floor because people don't tend to like to shop at the floor. But she gave me 3 shelves for the price of 1. So I said, okay, I'll give it a shot. We'll see how it goes. One of them is a little bit taller than the other 2. So at least you still get a decent view. Like people can look into it and see the ice cream pint holders, see the jewelry boxes, see the can koozies, which I need to make a sign for the can koozies because I brought signs for the pint holders and the jewelry boxes so that people would know what they were. But I didn't have one for the can koozie, so I'll bring it next time. And she wants me to bring more items that she can put around the store. So I said, you know what? I have some bird houses and bird feeders that I would like to clear out, not be holding on to for the winter. I said, I'm happy to reduce the prices. Hopefully then they'll sell. And she was like, great, bring those in and she can put them around the store. But I also was able to speak to her. And this is something to keep in mind where what are other ways that you can support the businesses that you're going to be a part of? So she's a new business. She has run a business before. She has run a cleaning business, but she doesn't really understand a lot in terms of Google and social media. So I was able to, while I was setting up my shop, give her different pieces of advice and tips on how she could use her Google business profile or her Instagram to help her store and to get herself to be seen. And because I was doing that, she's willing to give me other room in the store at no cost to me because I'm willing to answer her questions for her business and, help her out when I come into the store to refill things. So keep in mind of what are ways that you can possibly pour into those businesses that you are going to be a part of where you can build that relationship. So if I'm able to put items on a shelf on another part of the store that's not going to cost me anything, then that's wonderful because now I'm able to put my things in more than one area of the store. It's a very big space and it won't actually cost me any more money. But when I go in there, absolutely, I can be a little helpful and I can answer her questions. I'm in the store setting up the shelf anyway, so it doesn't really matter. And of course, when I was in there, I also spoke to her about my bakery because she has an event space in there. And I said, hey, just so you know, I offer cake decorating classes and cupcake decorating classes. So now we're going to talk about pairing up to make those happen, right? Because she wants to be able to host kids' birthday parties. But I can also just do a one-off Halloween cake decorating class or Christmas cake decorating class or whatever that might be. Right. So it's great to have those conversations. And obviously you all don't run 3D printing businesses and bakeries, but to have those conversations to see what are other ways that you can continue to partner in that store. Right. I would love if she's going to put together birthday parties, then for the 3D printing business, I can put pre-made goodie bags together. Right. So instead of people going to the dollar store and buying a bunch of random garbage that nobody really even uses, I can put together cute little goodie bags and even themed ones if need be. But it could be, a clicker and an infinity cube and different things. And if I'm making a bunch of them, I might be able to, reduce price slightly, but then she can just turn around and sell those to people coming in for the birthday parties. And it's like a one-stop solution that she can become for them. So just keep things like that in the back of your mind always when you're looking at spaces to go in, or when you are in spaces, and how can you possibly then increase your involvement within that space. So I guess this week's video is going to be done fully in the car. And that's okay because it's just how I'm able to get the content out to you guys right now. I always want to be able to get things out to you as quickly as I can to help you. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe if you want to continue to get business advice for how to grow your home printing business. And drop in the comments below. Do you currently sell things at a store? Have you considered selling things at a store? Are you open to that at all? Or would you rather perhaps you sell online or at market? I do market and in stores, but I would love to hear what you guys all do. I read every single comment and respond to them personally. So if you ever have any questions, let me know below. If you have something that you would like me to do a video on, I am happy to do that. I've done that a couple times with people in the comments when they need to learn something or need advice on a specific thing. So feel free to drop that in the comments below. Any interaction that you can give helps a small channel like mine to continue to grow so that I can keep coming back to do this for you guys, because I truly love pouring business advice to people to help them to create their small businesses. That's why I want to do it, even in that store there as well. Thank you guys so much for watching. And until next time, happy printing.